Hello and welcome to the London Bulls Podcast with me, Tom, and of course, my good friend KD. KD, how are you, mate? You well?
Tom, I'm feeling absolutely sensational, my friend.
Glad
Things
to
are going
hear
really good at the moment for us. London Bulls stuff is flourishing. Our membership base is flourishing. Numbers are going through the roof at the moment. Really, really exciting times for us as a group, but feeling really, really good. How have you been, my friend?
yes, good, mate. I think I feel the same. It feels like a really good time for the London Bulls at the moment, and sort of okay-ish for Hereford. So we'll come to that. But yeah, it just seems to be very positive. Lots to take up, as you say, with the membership. Lots to take up the Christmas party, and we'll maybe talk about that again later. But yeah, looking forward to it.
And Tom, why should people sign up to the membership? Like, what's in it for them?
Well, obviously you get to be part of a fantastic little community that we're building now. Um, there are some fantastic people out there. Um, Rob Ferguson, I think, is someone that we should probably mention.
Yes, big up.
Um, the guy's an absolute legend donating, and he's donated some tickets for the Christmas party. So yeah, absolute hero. But it's about having that contact and been able to get updates from us first via email, via WhatsApp. So yeah, it's just a nice little place to be at the moment, I think, mate.
I mean, Rob just totally represents the kindness from fans we've experienced since like
Mm,
reforming this group of the last year. He's not even from London. He literally lives in Cheshire and he's still supporting us, which is amazing. So thank
great.
you so much, Rob. Met him a couple of times in person, really lovely guy, and hopefully we can catch up for a pint soon. And
Mm,
yeah, you're totally right. There's so many perks with being a member. A lot of people who are part of the membership actually heard about the Christmas party tickets first, so we're able to snap
mm,
theirs up. So when
absolutely.
we do another event, this will be key, being part of the membership and making sure you're in there early doors.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. And you can plan, get it in the diary, and make sure you're there. Well, obviously today, we're obviously going to cover the last few games, which there's only been two with the Scarborough game being postponed. We'll talk about one in a bit of detail. The other one we won't bother much with. And obviously we'll talk about the next couple of games that are coming up, which will be interesting because I think we've got some good games for us, hopefully, to come up. And obviously we'll talk a little bit more about the Christmas party again. But I think we should probably start today. There was a little vote
There's a little one,
that
wasn't
happened,
it?
just a little one, won't affect the club too much. Um, at the Richmond Club, and Hust vote on the name change. I mean, do you want to talk through a little bit about what happened there, mate? And maybe, well, your views. Let's go for it.
Yeah. I mean, 200 or so people voted on the night to change the name back in favour of Hereford United, going back to our roots. I think it was at 80%. I don't know the specific, but I think it was at 80, around the 80% mark. And, for me, I think we should accept the will of the people. I mean,
Mm,
personally, right? Everyone had the opportunity to vote. And if you didn't, you should have. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm,
There was that opportunity. I know people have said, put a vote online so everyone can vote. The thing is, how legitimate is that? Do you know what I mean? Like how anyone can vote on that. But at least with this, it's properly registered and legitimate. And I know people have said maybe we should vote at the ground because we've got 2,000 people there. But, when you think about that then excludes fans like us, right? Like how can not everyone can always access the game and
mm,
what determines a fan or not and whether they
mhm,
have a right to vote. So personally, I thought it's probably the only legitimate way you really can get you know, a sense of, what the people want. So I think we should respect that.
mhm. That's interesting. That's interesting. Um, you obviously voted for Brexit as well if you're just accepting result. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think I do know what you're saying. I think that it was a vote. It was well realized. It was very people had a lot of chance to vote. And join Hust and make their voices heard. But I think it's hard to escape that it is only just over 200 people. And I do see some logic in people saying, well, let's do a match day and get to vote. But as you said, it's exiles like us who are we any less of fans because we can't be there? There are some fantastic people who travel great distances to get to every home and away game. Hats off to them, and maybe we need to take a leaf out of their book, but um, that's why that doesn't work. So we've got to either think of a better plan where it is just online, but then how do you account for, you could maybe vote multiple times. Well, that doesn't work. So it's important that everyone has their voice. Um, I think times are hard at the moment in terms of money, and I know it was only a tenner to join Hust, but it's more money all the time. Um, so that may be, I can understand why people maybe weren't going to rush to do it, and not everybody is a fan of what Hust do. It's not just cut and dry because they're the supporters trust. They don't represent everybody, and that's really important to remember as well. I think the vote happened. It was well advertised. I do think that maybe whatever your views are, that you should probably accept the result of that vote.
Yeah.
But whether there's something else that needs to happen, I'm not sure. And obviously, it's interesting, Stig releasing a personal statement of his. So, I think that speaks volumes to the fact that he's prepared to come out and say something.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I don't have a particular view, by the way. I mean, I see some really good arguments both sides. I'm
Mm-hmm.
always just a fan of accepting the will of the people, whatever it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, both sides have really good cases. I think what was really interesting, which I didn't know about, was that if we reverted back to our old name, we could apply to reclaim our old honours as Hereford United. So, that was something that was really interesting that came out in the last couple of days before the vote, which I didn't know about. So, yeah, it's a really interesting time for us. And obviously, I think the big worry is around resource at the club. Like, can we actually, do we have the manpower to really like do all this behind the scenes? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe this is something we could look at up them back full time or something in the football league. But yeah, it's an
Mm-hmm.
interesting time, my friend.
It is, mate. Yeah, I think a conversation has to happen between the Bring Back United guys, Hust and the club to understand what needs to be done and the undertakings in terms of working hours, in terms of what forms need to be filled in, and obviously the cost is a very big factor.
Mm.
The club have said one thing and to maintain that cost as well, that £30,000 figure. And obviously Bring Back United are going to maintain their 9,570. So who knows what the actual cost is? And I think that's probably something that's worrying some
Yeah.
people who aren't worried either way, but just that it is a lot of money, whether it's going to get covered or not. It's irrelevant
And
because there's a
also,
big discrepancy.
I think what we don't want is us to be a divided fan base because that's
No.
ultimately against what our name's about, right? So,
Yeah. 100%, 100%. Yeah. And Caddis and Stig have worked so hard to try and unite this, not just fans. I think the fans were pretty united, but to unite the club, the fans, the management, the players, so that's something that we don't want to lose over this. So I just hope whatever happens is, everyone's happy in the end anyway.
for
That's
sure.
the main thing.
Absolutely, my friend. Right.
Yeah.
Looking back over the last few games, um,
Yeah.
we started with a really good win against Marine.
hmm
Not a bad game,
hmm
that was it.
It was a good game, mate. It was a good game. Obviously we did hospitality with the London Bulls. That was fantastic. We had a lovely day out, didn't we? With meeting Matt Preston and the man, the myth, the legend that is Graham Turner. A few photo opportunities. Obviously, after the game, we had our version of Lawson Diaz meet the real Lawson Diaz. They had a lovely photo together, the doppelgangers. But the game itself, yeah, I mean, we'd barely sat down, and Bartley just decides to hit it. Can't argue with it, can you?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad goal, was it, mate? I mean, it didn't end up being too far off my prediction, the 6-0 prediction.
Uh, yeah.
You laughed at me, but it
Mm,
wasn't far off. It
still
wasn't
am.
far off. But Barley's been unbelievable, hasn't he? What a great start that was. He's really got that football league quality about him, and
He does.
he's got a good career in the game. So hopefully we can hang on to him as long as possible. I know we've got him till the end of the season, but if there's any chance we could get him again next season, that'd be amazing.
hmm
Um,
hmm
and yeah, even before that, I mean, you mentioned hospitality, like Sammy Robinson. We got to hear from him. He's actually not had a bad career either. He's been in the England setup, played for a couple of youth sides, even played with Jude Bellingham, I think, for the under-17s, which is really interesting.
Mm.
So really nice to hear from him, and obviously he's been a bit of a miss since that
Mhm.
second injury. But yeah, really good start, mate, with Bartley and a certain Mr. Cowley got a goal as well, didn't he?
He did. It was great to see him starting. It was great to see him back, and for him to get the goal was fantastic, really. And it's going to do him the world of good. So we just got to keep him safe now. No more injuries, please. And hopefully, he can score a few goals for us again. Um, obviously Willow got a goal. The guy's just unreal.
What is the
Um,
goal to game ratio now? It must be unbelievable. He's
yeah, I don't know what he's on
unbelievable.
now. Is he on 5 or 6 goals now?
It's insane.
Um, and he's not starting games, so more so his goals to minutes ratio must be unreal. And then it's big goals as well. Okay, yeah, that was to go 3-0 up, but that sees the game off, doesn't it? Um, Obviously he scored that winner a few weeks ago, and yeah, I mean it's just Willow doing what Willow does, and long may it continue. And then of course fourth goal by Mark Derricott, who we'd all love to see more of if he gets the opportunities. And it was great for him to score that goal. I was so happy for him when I realised it was him. I was excited. It was a bit. I thought it was Matt Preston for a minute, just because there were a lot of players around there, and we got a bit excited that you know our sponsor player had scored. But I'm happy for Mark. So.
There's a couple of masterstroke subs that like had us, wasn't it? I mean,
Mhm.
I think Willow had just come on maybe as a sub, and then he got that goal, and then Mark Derricott came on
Mhm.
not long after, and then got his goal. So yeah, really good performance by the team. Really good turnout by Marine fans as well. I was really impressed by how many they brought. They're quite far up toward Liverpool way. So yeah, really, really good day out. I mean, I loved hospitality. It was honestly one of my favorite ever days at Edgar Street, to be honest. So if
Mhm.
you ever are thinking of doing it, really recommend it. Tom
Mhm.
actually did a really good article on Bulls News about it if you want to see a bit more detail about it and see some more photos with Matt Preston and Grant Turner, which was really cool. Yeah, really,
Yeah,
really lovely day out.
yeah, yeah. It was. Food was beautiful. And it was. Obviously we had the chat from Sammy, as you say, Sammy Robinson and GT. So it's just it's just worth the money. It's just, and of course when we win, it makes it all fine, doesn't it? Makes it great.
Your mind
So
with sticky toffee pudding, unbelievable.
that was
Superb
unreal.
and superb. Yeah,
Yeah,
really, really good game.
absolutely. Absolutely, mate. Um, Now, suppose we should probably talk about Brentwood Town. Now I couldn't make it back, but you were there,
Yeah.
so I suppose do you want to
Sadly,
sort of lead the way on this one, mate? Yeah,
sadly, I'm there, mate.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a bit of a different kind of alternative journey for this one back to Edgar Street. Via Albania, actually. Did Greece away.
Oh, right. Was
As some
that
of you know.
cheaper to go via Albania than it was to get a train from London to
Believe it or
Hereford?
not, my
Probably.
flight from Athens to Tirana in Albania was £1.50. I'll screenshot it and share it with you if you don't believe me. Honestly, I swear to God.
What?
£1.50. So, yeah, it was cheaper to get back by Albania. Yeah, obviously, really enjoyed the England game. Believe it or not, if you've been to Athens before, there's this huge mountain there with the Acropolis at the top. I was there just admiring the views of the city, and then just hear this guy tap my shoulders wearing my England Bowen shirt. He's like, "You're out, mate. Do you mind getting a photo?" My lad.
Where was he from? Sorry.
So two lads from Halifax.
Wow.
They were wearing their Halifax shirts and
Hmm.
obviously got chatting to them. Asked if they went to that playoff final. Really rubbed the salt in the wound with it,
Got to.
and they were, which made it even better. But yeah, really lovely lads.
Nice.
That's the beauty of England. Like they've obviously reformed as a club as well, and
Mm.
it was really nice. They've been down to Edgar Street before, and I think that's the beauty of following England in terms of like the people you meet and the clubs and fan bases you come across. It's really unbelievable. But yeah, obviously came back. Sadly for that Brentwood game. I mean, it was a disastrous game, to be honest. I mean, Cavus wasn't in the box. He was obviously serving that suspension. Tate Campbell was sent off. Obviously, he's going to be a bit of a loss for us now, but it was just one of those classic underdog cup performances from Brentwood.
Hmm.
They deserved it. I don't even think we tested their keeper, to be honest. which is really frustrating. This is obviously just a recurring theme for us this season, isn't it? We were obviously at Bishop Stortford, and it was very similar to that in terms of the disappointment of losing to a lower league
Mm.
side. And obviously, we even drew with Ickleston, didn't we, at home? And then with a replay there. Somehow I ended up on the Brentwood team bus, believe it or not, at the end of the game.
What?
I was having a drink in the bar after, and I left my bag on the side. And Jamie Griffiths, the general manager, thought it was one of the Brentwood's players' bags, so he gave it to them. Then I was looking for my bag, panicking, and he's like, "It's on the bus, mate." So I had to leg it on there. Then I see like their players going through my undies from Greece and stuff, like for trying to figure out. That was this, these bags, this like, and then my Hereford flag was in there and stuff. So yeah, that was a really weird kind of moment, being on the bus for that and trying to get my bag back. But yeah, yeah. What was your kind of? I mean, there's not really much positives from that, was there? But what was your kind of take on the loss, mate?
Um, yeah, it's just very disappointing. I think it's just this consistency that's really frustrating me at the moment.
Yeah.
Like go and beat Marine 4-0 and look, Brent would have beaten higher ranked sides than themselves in the two previous rounds to this that they played in. So it's they they did they did it to other teams. It's not just us, but it's just disappointing because this is something we could have got through a few rounds of. And okay, the prize money isn't fantastic, but any money is good for us at the moment, and will help to boost the budget. And yeah, okay, attendances were a little bit poor. I think it was another like sort of 14, was it 14-4-3 for that game, which isn't great. But what I would say is that the further you get and the bigger teams you play, the bigger the crowds. If we played at home, bigger the crowds, and that's going to bring us a little bit more money as well. And who knows, bit of a run and you might get to Wembley. But on the other hand, I think, we're going for the playoffs. We haven't got the biggest squad. It's a blessing in disguise, really,
Mm.
because it gives us that Saturday, the 7th of December off now, which is good. Helps the lads to recover. But it's just, yeah, I'd love to have got through, definitely.
I know what you mean, mate. To be honest, I always get really down when we're knocked out of all the cups. I don't
Mm,
win the Herefordshire Cup, like still, do you know what I mean? But it's such a kind of lost opportunity, as you said, like
mhm,
the prize money you can get from it, and we could have gone really far. Like we did really well. We played Gateshead last season, I think, the fifth round, and yeah, it's just really disappointing. But as you said, it could be a blessing in disguise now. It's just a shame. I love football and having to wait now, like every week for a Saturday game. It's just
yeah.
I'm going to miss the Tuesday games now, but yeah, disappointed. It's just so inconsistent, isn't it? Like, how can you bat a Marine
Hmm.
4-0 and then
Hmm.
losing 1-0 to Brentwood? But here we are.
Yeah. Then obviously Tate getting sent off. Discipline's been such a problem for us. We've had
Um,
enough injuries. We don't need the discipline problem as well, do we?
yeah, and I think, Caddis, I think, mentioned that in his statement up the next day, actually. And he addressed, like, it's not been good enough. And it starts with him in a way. He's been banned for like quite a few games now since he started with us. So, maybe it does start with him and he needs to address that in some way. I don't know how, but yeah, hopefully we can improve
Mm.
going forward.
Yeah, you don't want to lose the passion from him, though, do you? Because that's what makes him the manager he is.
Mm,
And he's very honest with us. He's very passionate when he speaks. He speaks very well. And that's what we want from our manager. So I don't really want to lose that,
yeah.
but it does. I mean, we didn't seem to have this problem quite so bad last season in terms
Mm,
of sending offs and lots of yellow cards. So I don't know if it's just these players he brought in. That's the way they play football. I don't know, but we just need to be a little bit more careful because we haven't got the biggest squad, and because of these sendings off and everything. Maybe again a little bit of a blessing that we aren't we are out of the FA Trophy as well now. But
yeah. And talking of
anyway,
blessings in disguise, obviously, the Scarborough game was called off. It's probably more of a
mm,
blessing in disguise for their fans, to be honest, that they don't have to travel all the way to us on a Tuesday night. But obviously, really
yeah,
disappointing on our side because we wanted to stream the event in central London where we're going to get record numbers. Really gutted that was called off. But
yeah.
what are your kind of thoughts on that? Obviously, there's not really too much to say, but
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously it's a shame because we were going to stream the game, London Bulls in Leicester Square. It was yeah, we got great numbers again, great support from that bar in Leicester Square. And yeah, you've got all these plans in place, and then you're having to sort of last minute call everything off. But look, it was for the right reasons. Obviously, the snow hit the ground, the pitch was probably frozen and would have needed clearing anyway, and I don't think it would have unfrozen. And it would have been too dangerous for the Scarborough fans and Hereford fans to get to the game. So,
Mhm.
it's called off for absolutely the right reasons. We didn't have any snow down in London, so for us it was a bit like, well, what's the problem? And then you see the photos, you're like, oh right, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So, we do understand, but obviously it's just disappointing. And I think it's a shame because we probably needed the game on Tuesday to bounce back from Brentwood, really.
yeah.
Um, just to get the lads back into it and straight on bang go. But obviously we've got a game on Saturday now. But yeah, it's a shame. But hey ho, this is
Yeah,
what
but in
happened.
terms of general context of everything, we're seventh in the playoffs. We're still in the playoff positions, which is
Hmm.
incredible. And as you said, ultimately, that's the bread and butter, right? That's where we want to be. Um,
Mm,
what's been really good over the last couple of weeks since we did our last podcast is a few of the teams around us have actually played their games in hand. I think that was something I was worried about. We were in the
mm,
playoffs, but quite a number of teams had a lot of games, and it seems they played them, and we're still in that playoff position. I know a
mm,
couple still have a game in hand over us, but
yeah.
we were in quite a healthy position, and we seem to be consolidating that position now, being up there.
Hmm.
So that's really
Yeah.
pleasing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. I think seventh look is again, we said this before. I think it's a lot better than we all thought. We knew we would if we could make a bit of progress. Obviously, we finished 11th last season, and we had chances for the playoffs right to the end, and so you don't mean we didn't really need to make a lot of progress to maybe be troubling the playoffs a bit earlier in the season, and it's a really good position to be in. Um, yeah, I think when you look at the table, obviously, yeah, there's still one or two teams that have got games in hand. I think Alfreton have still got two. So, but the majority now are starting to play their games and starting to yeah, that we haven't got the games in hand on us, which is lovely. So we just all we can do is just keep winning our games. If they slip up, then it isn't going to matter about the game in hand so much. So it's vital that we keep going and again we've got a good side. It's just we are a little bit we haven't got the depth.
Mhm.
I think when you think about the fact that we're only 2 points off Scunthorpe, and we're only 5 points off the top, really. And I mean Chorley may well go on and do a Tamworth now, but where they, pretty much don't lose all season, but the rest of the season. I think when you look at again, something we've mentioned before, when you look at we've got 6 draws. I think that's where it's won and lost for us at the moment
Yeah.
because we've only lost 4 games. Scunthorpe have lost 4 games. Chorley have lost 3. We're not miles away, but Buxton are still one place ahead of us, and they've lost like a lot more games than we have. It's just the fact they've won 9, so they've drawn 1. So that's the big difference, and we just need to see games out. We some poor performances obviously earlier in the season, Radcliffe and Peterborough Sports. So, I'm not saying they're going to cost us, but I think if anything does and it's very tight, that's what's ultimately cost us is those not showing up against those, lower ranked teams.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Scunthorpe as well. I was going to talk about them briefly, and I think last season and this season we thought they'd run away with it, and they did have a
Mm,
solid start actually, but they seem to have dropped off a little bit.
mhm.
I'm actually really
Yeah.
looking forward to the game up there in December. I think it'll be a really good away day that, and it seems like they are actually beatable now. I think they had a bit of an aura about them last season, and
Mm,
obviously they beat us quite comfortably in both games, but yeah, it seems really wide open this year, and
mm.
hopefully we can keep it up, my friend.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. I think it's great that we've signed Bartley for a little bit longer, and obviously we've got Jaden White now. So it'd be interesting to see what he can do.
Mm.
He seems like he's a very good player. Obviously come up from Redditch. So yeah, it's exciting. It is an exciting place to be now. I just hope that it all comes together and we can do one of these next couple of games, which I'm sure we'll talk about now anyway.
Yeah, he looks really sharp, Jaden. I think he's scored or assisted every other week in the season to date in set
It's
three. So
crazy.
hopefully he'll be able to continue that fine form for us in these next few games. And I've
Yeah,
got Darlington away. The long old trip
yeah.
to the northeast.
It is.
Um, should be a football league fixture, this really, shouldn't it? But here we are, National League North football.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is, and that's what's sad about it. And they've had to rebuild themselves. Yeah, look, Darlow are 14th. Um, what are they? 5 points? Yeah, 5 points below us. So look, it's tough to know how that game's going to go because you just don't. I mean, obviously it's a long way, but not so much for our players. But you just don't know which Hereford's going to turn up.
Mhm.
Is the Marine team going to turn up, or is the Brentwood team going to turn up? Um, and that's what's frustrating at the moment is, as we've said, is this consistency. But look, I really fancy our chances up there. I think you know, they're beatable. They've shown that this season. Um, they drew with Peterborough Sports last week, last Tuesday, and lost to Brackley on the Saturday before. Um, they did beat Buxton in the trophy on Saturday, but then same league on it, so it's not quite so important. Again, Buxton are a little bit like, well, I suppose the thing is with Buxton is they full time, aren't they? But they're going for the playoffs like we are, so they'd probably rather be out of it. Um, so yeah, I really do think that it's a game we can win, but they're decent at home,
Mhm.
and we're decent away. So we'll have
To be
to
honest,
see. I mean, what are your thoughts, mate?
I'll honestly be happy with the point up there. I went up there last season. It's a tough old place to go. And it feels up there
Mm,
like they get quite a good turnout with fans, like really good attendances of them. It feels like they're right up against you. It's
mhm.
very different to their old stadium. I don't know if you remember that, the Echo Arena, that was like 25,000 seats.
Yeah,
We used to have 2,000 people in there. I don't know what's happened to
yeah,
that rugby team play there now, but it's a shame they're not doing that. But I think that's what led to their demise, I think, actually. Yeah, when we went up there last season, I think Gowling had just been sacked actually, and then they had this kind of crazy run of form again where they survived relegation. But I think that's what really stood out to me. I think the atmosphere up there was really kind of hostile. It was a really good place to go, really good football. But I honestly would be happy with the point. To be honest, I'll actually be surprised if the game even goes ahead. I think we're scheduled for more
true.
bad weather, so hopefully it does go ahead. But I'm not feeling too confident. But if it does, I'll be happy with the point.
hmm hmm Yeah, I mean, you're right. Actually, whether this game will go ahead or not, who knows? But should it go ahead, I think they'll make it tough for us. But um, but I do think we can get the win. I think
Yeah,
I think Callis will have got into the players again, and hopefully it will get them moving in the right direction. Um, I don't know about training, whether they're able to train obviously Tuesday in the end, or even tonight. So we'll see. Um, but if nothing else, at least if they can get some ideas across and understand what they need to do better, then it works in our favour. So
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And even if it is called off, like that can't be a bad thing. I think, it just gives us that time to recuperate and reset a little bit, doesn't it?
hmm
Just get people back from injuries and all that and get a couple of training sessions in. A couple of training sessions. Remember we said the luxury of that. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, a really tough game. And then we've got Rushall Olympic at home the following Saturday. So they're not having a great season, are they, mate? They seem to be really struggling.
No,
Yeah.
they are, mate. They are, and they've won 3 games. They've lost 11. And I think it's shown. They've not been great. They're 6 points from safety already. And look, change of form can do anything. But if we don't beat them and beat them comfortably, then you may as well kiss goodbye to the playoffs. Because what's the point? If we can't beat teams like this, what are we doing? What are we doing?
No, do you know what's going to happen, mate? We're going to thrash Darlington 4-0 and then lose one.
Probably.
I mean, it's probably going to happen, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
story of our season so far. So, It wouldn't surprise me if that happened. But yeah, it's a real shame to see them quite adrift already. But this that
Yeah.
was the same situation Darlington were in. I think they were quite adrift last season, and then
Mm,
new manager turned it all around, and they ended up
mm,
surviving. So can't really write them off yet this season.
mm.
But yeah, it will be another tough game at home. But as you said, we should expect to win it.
Got to
Score
really.
predictions for the two games.
Um, so I'm going to go with 1-0 against Darlington.
Okay,
Um, win and 4-0 against Rushall.
follow that. Do you know what we should have done? Well, before when the season started, we should have a little league table and actually compare our predictions and like have it pop up. I think that would be incredible. See
Yeah, I think
actually,
we could probably do it anyway. Let's have a look back at all the
see who's
predictions,
actually did that.
come up with
Um,
some crazy scoring system, and then we can see who's right and who's wrong here. Anyway, what are yours, mate? What are your score predictions this week?
I've gone 1-1 Darlington
Okay.
and Jaden White to score on his debut. Um,
Okay.
I've actually gone for a 5-0 win against Rushall.
Nice.
So yeah, we're not too far off this time.
No, we're not.
Right.
I'm surprised you didn't go for like a 5-all draw or something for the Darlington game. But yeah, no, that's fair enough, mate. No, look, I think it's certainly realistic, the Darlington game. Um, I think the Rushall one will be interesting. I think we need to start well,
Yeah.
put them under pressure, and just do our stuff. If we can get an early goal like we did against Marine, then I think it will be 4 or 5.
Yeah, hopefully Ryan Barley can get a quick goal in 10 seconds or whatever it was again,
Yeah,
which would be
but
nice.
29. Yeah.
29 was it? I don't know what the quickest goal at Edgar Street ever is. If anyone knows, please do pop it.
It's Peter Heritage. I'm not quite sure what the time is.
Oh, it's a bit.
Um,
Okay.
but it's a while ago.
Right, mate. I heard Thursday, 12th of December, something big is happening in Shepherd's Bush, my friend.
Yeah, certainly is, mate. It is the London Bulls Christmas party, which is going to be amazing. It's really exciting. Obviously, we've got the chairman, Mr. Stig Ammons, coming down. So all bought and paid for. You should see the size of his fee. He's obviously got a very good agent. So we're having to try and up the donations and the Christmas ticket price, unfortunately. We've had to triple it just to try and cover it. No, I'm joking. He's no, Joe, what he's been really, really good to us, hasn't he? Really supportive and everything. So yeah, no, we're really looking forward to obviously having a chat with him. And there's a lot to talk about at the club at the moment, and obviously we mentioned the name change and his statement. So we definitely want to mention that. But yeah, it's looking really good. We ticket sales have been really good. So we're just the last few really now. So if you want to come, make sure you get your ticket because otherwise it could be sold out. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to miss out. So £15 a ticket, £15, and that gets you obviously in. Gets you a seat for the Q&A with the chairman, and some food. So the food is there are ox burgers and fries. There's is it roast pork, rolls. There is plant sliders, and I can't remember the vegan dish,
You
but I
did
won't be
not there,
eating it
mate, because
anyway.
I
So
don't know. Yeah, we've got
not
some
really
good
my
plans.
problem if you're vegan. That's up to you, isn't it? That's your fault, not mine. So
And just a reminder that the deadline to get your ticket is the 30th of November at 11:59 p.m. So make sure that's a hard deadline then, because we need to submit that food order. And it's important we get the right quantities in. So please do make sure you get your order in. We will have heavies on the door. So please don't even try and attempt forging tickets. Joe and Alan, if you've met them before, they will sort you out. If you attempt anything illegal or try and what do they call it? Is it jibbing? Jib your way in to the event.
yeah,
Also, if you see anything on Combo, any inflated prices, we stand against that as well. We are
yeah.
anti reselling tickets at crazy prices, so we won't
Unless
stand.
it's us doing it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be us dishing it out on the black market, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Um, yeah. And but we do accept bribes. I think that's really important to to make very clear that bribes are accepted. Okay. Um, but we mentioned Rob Ferguson earlier. Fantastic guy, and he has donated 6 tickets. Um, we've given a couple away to people who we feel deserve them. So by all means, if times obviously difficult, it's hard at the moment. Cost of living is still a problem. Can't see that going away, unfortunately. So do contact us if privately if you do want to consider a gifted ticket. Rob is such has been so, as I say, so very good to us with his donations and obviously donating these tickets for the Christmas party. So yeah, do get in touch. But there'll be links everywhere for if you're happy to purchase a ticket. And make sure you get signed up before the 30th, really.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful gesture by Rob. And please do get in touch if you would like to pick a ticket up. The deadline is approaching quite quickly, so do make sure you get in there as soon as possible. There's also going to be a raffle on the night. We've got a load of amazing prizes on offer.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to buy a
Mm-hmm.
ticket for the day to take part in it. So really excited about all of this happening, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. We can confirm that there's a signed shirt, signed print, there's a signed book, there's some alcohol that's been kindly donated. There's some sauces that have been kindly donated from the fourth best burger place in the world.
Burger
That's
World Cup. They lost on penalties. Can you read that?
That's incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible. But well done to the Beefy Boys, by the way. I think they, deserve a shout out. They're obviously local lads and to Hereford, and what they've built is unbelievable. Talk
And
of
if they're
maybe some
looking
more
for a
restaurants.
podcast to sponsor, they're more than welcome. We're more than happy to taste some of their burgers on the pod.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And keep plugging them,
but yeah, really
Um,
enjoyed this pod, my friend. Been a really
yeah, I think just before I wanted to, there was another local lad that maybe that played on Sunday for England, came off the bench, first touch goal.
I
I
didn't
think
hear
we should
that.
probably just give a little shout out to Jarrod Bowen, who obviously scored his first goal for England. So well done, JB. Hopefully it's not his last.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nice. It was actually in the end we were sitting in, and he actually ran towards the Hereford flag, which was actually in the corner, which was really, really nice to see. I'm really happy for him.
Mhm,
He's been playing a
mhm.
few games now, and you can see that frustration that he's not scored yet. And it really is it's incredible his journey, isn't it? Really, where he started out and where he is now. So all the
Yeah.
best. I hope this is the start of many.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I walked into Wembley, there was a couple of Hereford fans holding up a Hereford flag. So it was like, oh, wow. So we sort of went over and spoke to them, and Don Cook, give a shout out to him. He's obviously someone who supports Hereford and goes to England games, and it's great to have a chat with him. He had some lovely words for the London Bulls. Thanking us for what we've done for the club, which we don't feel like we just feel like we're just certainly on this just babbling away, and we're just promoting the club in whatever way we can, really. So yeah, really appreciated what he said, and I just think what a lovely community and club we do have. We're so
Yeah.
lucky.
Oh, we absolutely are, mate. I mean, I've made some unbelievable friendships over this last year, just through the London Bulls, and it's just been absolutely amazing. So
Mm,
long may that continue too, and hopefully we can provide this group and enable more friendships to be created and help others be
absolutely.
part of this community. So yeah, it's been an unbelievable year, and we can't wait to top it off with the Christmas party. It's an exciting time for us, so it's going to be a great ending.
Yeah, yeah, awesome.
Right,
Well, that was a good pod, mate.
very good pod indeed. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, can't wait. See ya.
See you there.